everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Good Insights podcast, hosted by me, Alison Cantor. I'm excited to announce that today our guest is Meenakshi Iyer, administrator at the Podar Education Network Schools and participant of the Good Projects study.
Hi, Alison. Thank you so much for having me on. Really excited to be here.
We are so excited to have you on, Meenakshi. First, I want to give more of an introduction about Meenakshi and all her amazing experience in different fields. Meenakshi describes herself as a learner at heart with a need to make systems better. She started in the field of information technology as a software programmer and moved on to be a business analyst for information systems. After working in this field for 12 years, she was then inspired by her daughter to switch to working in education. After she qualified as an educator, she joined one of the Podar schools as a primary teacher. In addition to teaching, she customized and implemented a UK-based phonics program to develop reading, writing, and speaking skills in primary students. Meenakshi joined the central curriculum team for the Podar network of schools shortly after being a teacher. She conducted teacher and principal training programs, designed content for an in-house phonics program for all Podar schools, conducted multiple school audits with the aim to improve teaching, learning in schools. Now she's part of a team that designs products for students to improve 21st century skills. They focus on products that improve critical thinking skills and communication, encourage creativity and collaboration in students. Meenakshi has an intrinsic passion for teaching and coaching and a love for learning. She is deeply committed to the success of students and her aim to help students realize their potential. So moving on, I wanted to ask Meenakshi more about the Podar Education Network Schools and things related to the field of education. So first, Meenakshi, can you tell us about the Podar Education Network Schools and their mission?
Well, certainly, I think the Podar Education Network is quite a huge network, Alison. We've been around for 97 years, educational space. And I think in another 3 years, yes, we will be celebrating our centennial. But we've come a long way. We began as a single institute in 1927, and we've grown to a network of over 149 Podar-owned schools across India and 113 Podar partner schools in India, and as well as international. So we have a large fleet of schools, I would say, and with a combined student strength of 250,000. And of course, to support the students, we have around 8,000 highly qualified teachers dedicated to our mission. And our mission being to develop and equip the children of India for the challenges of the 21st century.
That's wonderful to hear that the Podar schools are really thinking about not just teaching subjects of math, reading, writing, whatever it may be, but they're also thinking towards the future and how to help students think about real life problems and problem solving, it sounds, or other skills that employers might want for their 21st century workers, instead of just thinking about the general subjects themselves and not going the extra step like the schools that you work with are. And how does the content of the Good Project lesson plans relate to the mission of the Podar schools?
So like I said, our mission is more about equipping students 21st century skills along with academic achievement. Podar schools, they emphasize modern teaching methods, more progressive teaching methods to prepare students for these challenges. There are a lot of challenges that these students will face in the 21st century going forward. So we focus a lot on technology integration, student-centered learning, and collaborative learning to develop these skills, because we want us to succeed in this rapidly evolving world. Our curriculum incorporates a lot of life skills to help students navigate the complex world, challenges that they'll face, not just in school, but in college and in future careers, with a strong emphasis on self-reflection. I think that's a very key skill that every individual should have, to be able to reflect on one's actions and going forward, how to improve that. That'll go a long way towards self-development. So the Good Project lessons, they align perfectly with our mission, focusing on the essential question, how do I know that I'm delivering good work? So the 3 E's framework, whether it was the 3 E's framework with excellence, ethics, and engagement, it just simplified the entire concept of doing quality work or good work. So it's a tool that was made for reflecting on one's own work, on the quality of our work, whether I'm delivering high quality, whether I'm being socially responsible in my work, whether I'm being meaningful, I'm producing meaningful work, whether I'm personally involved in my work. So this tool for reflection on the quality of work and really helping a person make decisions and dilemmas really interested us because we are focused on achieving excellence, helping our students achieve excellence. So we thought this tool would go a long way towards helping produce good work. So that was a very strong connection when we first looked at the content of the good project.
Yeah, that's super interesting to hear about how that point of helping students think about how to be, I guess I would call it like 21st century learners or preparing them for the 21st century and the problems that it will bring and how the three E's, especially I would think the ethics part, being socially responsible, really does align with that. And thinking even towards AI and people saying, oh, you can just replace workers with the AI, no problem. Not just going along with that answer, but more so thinking, how can we make our students be future workers or even just current thinkers that are thinking beyond, oh, I'll just put this idea into AI and it'll figure out for me, thinking even we can supplement it or go beyond what the technology has for us and use our own brains with whatever tools we're giving the 21st century to make such good quality and to put effort in to our work as well. And are there any particular trends in the ways your students are thinking about certain topics throughout or after participating in the lesson plans?
Definitely, there is a clear distinction between before and after the Good Project was introduced. See, Podar, we offer uniform education to all our students, regardless of their backgrounds. And we have students that come in from different backgrounds and have different special needs, right? So we want to ensure that all these students are given equal opportunities to meet their potential. Our programs emphasize not just on academics, like I said, but also on skill development. So when the Good Project came on and it fit totally into our mission to equip students with skills, it was more with the intention of helping students progress in their line of thinking, in their attitude towards work, in their approach and tools that they use towards producing their work, making them more conscious. Students have developed a very deeper understanding now after the project on the importance of ethics in their work. There are I think a lot of emphasis on AI and AI tools, like you rightly said earlier, that really attract students towards finding easier answers and easier ways of just churning out responses, doing their homework, submitting assignment. No, they have easily attracted to that. But after the Good Project, they have recognized that originality and integrity are very essential. Okay, rather than relying on AI tools, which also translate to plagiarism. If they submit assignments that are copied, it's literally plagiarism. They recognize that originality is very important, and that's a measure of good work. They also appreciate the value of making their work more meaningful. So earlier students were, I don't like maths, I'm not going to pay attention in math, I'm not going to do well in math. But now they've taken more interest in the subjects that they feel they lack achievement in, and they try to make it more personally meaningful. And it has really led to an increased engagement in greater focus on self. That was the greatest impact I felt that the Good Project had on us too. So there was a great shift in perspective for students, and it aligned completely with the Good Project's emphasis on producing high quality work, socially responsible work, and also personally engaging. I think if you do a comparison of before and after, yes, students used to just not really, majority of us would not really focus on why they're doing it, the purpose of the work, engaging with their work. But after the Good Project, it made them more conscious, at least more reflective on what they're doing, whether it's right or wrong, whether they're producing good work or not. And yeah, I think it was making their work personally meaningful. And it's one of the keys to achieving excellence.
Yeah, I definitely like that connection between the AI saying, oh, let's just make things easier, but also thinking about how can we actually make our work meaningful, even knowing that this technology that could be very helpful can be of use to us, but making sure we don't use it to just replace our own thinking, but rather to assist our own thinking as human beings, that why AI could be superior in some ways of generating ideas sometimes, or it could help us save time. At the same time, it's important to think about how are we using the AI, why are we using it, and going back to lesson plans after having taken a look at them myself and seeing the lessons, I definitely could see what you're saying of how the students could find more meaning by using the three E's and thinking not just, oh, why am I, like you said, math, why am I just doing this like problem, or why do I have to learn this? AI could do it for me, but understanding why it could be helpful to know the skills of math and then use AI to further assist them later in further learning or going beyond just getting the answer, but understanding why the answer is what it is. So that's really interesting.
And
And
it's all about getting students are also now empathizing more with those who require more help. Students who are coming from different backgrounds need that empathy in the classroom so that they don't feel isolated, more creating more of an inclusive environment. So I think Good Project has made students become more conscious about that too, because not in the ethical sense of mind, but about creating the right atmosphere to produce good work. And inclusivity is goes a long way towards that.
oh, really? That's really interesting that you found that. I hadn't thought about that before. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
So we have students from different backgrounds. We have students who are coming from tribal students. We go more interior into India. So we have tribal students who are in our schools. We have students who are require special needs. So they have reading problems, they have writing problems, they have dysgraphia. So maths is really difficult for them. Of course, we have counselors on board to assist them and counsel them on how to move through the academic year successfully. But it's very important to be part of a classroom and included in a classroom and not feel differentiated amongst the other students that I'm different. Already a child who's coming from such a background, whether it's special needs or whether it's a linguistic problem, they're not able to speak good English. So in such a classroom environment, it's very easy to feel left out. And that plays a lot also it interferes a lot in academic. But through the Good Project, students have understood, especially the way the lessons are conducted. We have mixed ability groups where they do group activities, collaborative activities. We found students actually connecting because this is not an academic subject, right? So even students from diverse backgrounds were able to pitch in and give in their understanding, share their experience from life and their opinion based on their experience from life, which helped other students realize that yes, students may be from a different background. They may not be achievers in academic sense, but they have a lot to contribute in terms of conversation, in terms of different other topics that the Good Project made them discuss. So I think it heightened the level of inclusivity in the classroom also, which we found very encouraging because now that bond is formed, it filters into the academic classes also, where they start interacting with each other, helping each other, speaking for each other also. If you're not able to form the right words or frame the right sentence in English, you have students who step up and help these underprivileged also. I think that Good Project played a lot into influencing.
That's wonderful to hear that the lessons were promoting inclusivity, even if it wasn't like explicitly stated in the lessons, that by doing the group work, it helped different students of different demographic backgrounds or with different learning needs to connect together and think, I know we had lessons about values and thinking about your own personal mission. And
Yes.
I definitely could see how that could help students get to know one another and understand each other more. So that's a great thing to hear as well. And I also want to ask you, transitioning back more to thinking about the ideas in general of good work and yourself, how has your understanding of work changed over time?
At Podar, we use different rubrics to evaluate work. That's on a very professional basis. We align work with the work assigned as well as the roles and responsibilities of the person being evaluated. Excellence, engagement, and ethics, all the three E's are woven into the descriptors of our rubrics. But the GP concepts of three E's are principles that we strongly believe in. And now, thanks to the 2-year study that we were involved in, we're able to offer this key knowledge to our students also. So We believe that learning from the good project will help students in making better decisions with the aim to produce good work. Because personally, on a professional front, we are already practicing that. We are already following those principles. As we are part of a central team that serves all our 149 schools, our focus is on the student, the end customers, the students. So how do we and help students excel? So our process, evaluation process in the professional sense is already based on the three E's, the key principles. But it's no longer just about the individual, okay, and the work that they produce, but it is more about student, what the student needs. So our approach to work is more focused on that. Earlier, it was a lot about teaching a subject, what is required for that topic, and producing good quality lesson plans so that teachers know how to deliver in the classroom. But now it's more about, am I including activities that will develop student, thinking skills, 21st century, but at the same time, understand the topic that is being taught and thereby achieve excellence in the academic stream. So really it's a focus of now, what do students need to achieve in today's world? And how can I provide it in the classroom? Not just in classrooms that are dedicated to the good project, but also in the regular academic subjects. How do I provide for 21st centuries in our classrooms? Are we providing those opportunities for enrichment in the academics or not? So we're becoming more introspective. How do we make better schools? How do we make learning better? These are some major questions that are always now in the forefront while we're defining our work to benefit our students.
I like that idea of not just having the good project be like the good project class and you do it for a year and it's done, but more so thinking about as another thing to think about, or another part of the toolbox of different ways to help improve students' learning and to help them even get to know each other better, which will then help their learning when they're doing perhaps group projects in class or having group discussions in class. And I think it's interesting too that we've had other teachers too, I think, who have not just used the good project as in an advisory period or as its own 10 or 20 minutes of the class, but rather really including it in, per se, maybe their math curriculum somehow. If they're given a regular curriculum for math for that semester, they're also doing the good project lesson plans and somehow incorporating that. And
Yes.
now I'm thinking about it, I want to learn more about that too. I should speak to those people. But moving on as well, I wanted to ask you, what does it mean to achieve excellence as a teacher?
Oh, having been the teacher myself, it's really a teacher focuses more on her subject, right? Ensuring her responsibility. It's always going in the classroom. Am I going to be able to teach this topic? Are students going to be able to learn what I'm going to teach? So that is really the focus of that. In today's world, that's sadly, and not sadly, really, that's more a requirement. It's a must that teachers can no longer just think about the mastery of their subject matter, right? It has to go beyond just communicating concepts or subject matter, but it's about inspiring students towards learning that topic. It's about cultivating a learning environment in the classroom, more of a thinking environment. The project C, making thinking visible, right? So it's that kind of a classroom that we're expecting students to experience. So teachers have to provide that. Teaching in today's world is really a totally different, it's navigating a rapidly changing world. Teachers must understand what skills students would need when they move out into the real world. Knowledge is, see, there are resources for knowledge everywhere. You have the internet, you have AI. So knowledge is at the fingertip of students at all times. But who's developing their skills? So it is skills that teachers also must focus on. Blending the world of knowledge, imparting knowledge and skills is not an easy task. And teachers are more, I think, institutionalized when they come out into the education field. When they come out for their first job, they're more focused on improving the knowledge of students, imparting knowledge. But we need teachers who are willing to step up, who are willing to adapt their teaching practices, embed skill development along with subject matter. That is the right combination. That's the right equation that would be working towards achieving excellence. I think that's very important. And at Podar, we have multiple ways we are guiding our teachers to be more modern educators, where we have professional development programs. We're trying to be on top of the stream when it comes to informing ourselves on new practices and then imparting that through training to our teachers, informing about the pedagogies that are out there and that would promote thinking in the classroom, as well as academic achievement in different subjects. It's not just about teaching the topic, it's about developing, and that's the right equation that every teacher be able to bring to the table. When we conduct school audits, we focus on how to improve academic achievement or making it a better school with a focus on teaching and learning, and also guiding our leadership on how to improve teaching and learning in the class. So it's a balancing act that we aspire all our leaders and teachers to be involved in and to master. We see the good project playing a key role in that, because it's going to inspire our teachers on how to make decisions on their quality of work, understand that this is what I have to bring to the table, and focus on improving their skills, either through the PD programs that provide, but also through the opportunities that are given to them to showcase their ability to balance knowledge. I think that's very important today.
Yeah, I think that the idea of the blending of the knowledge and skills is something that maybe is overlooked sometimes by schools entirely, or maybe individual teachers, unless there's a teacher who's really stepping up in that grade or within their school and really talking about it. And it sounds like something that could be really discussed in maybe more professional development sessions at schools in general. Definitely interesting to think about. And going along with or off of that, do you feel the field of education is aligned or not in India? And what have you learned about your colleagues in the state of education in other countries?
So the Indian education system has several positive aspects. We have a lot of commonalities, multiple education systems around the world. We all believe in standardized testing. It's still running on standardized, and we have the system is divided into primary, secondary, and higher education. English is a primary medium. We are evolving, and we are definitely incorporating a lot of technology in our education. Having said that, I think the field of education in India is both aligned and misaligned in various. When it comes to alignment, I was talking about standardization of curriculum. We have standardized curricula that is spread across the country because we have two boards, that is CBSE board and the CISE board. They ensure uniformity in it. It makes the transition students who relocate. So we have a lot of students whose parents relocate because of their job. So if they're in one CBSE school, they can easily move on to another CBSE school where they're relocating and continue with the same curricula. So they don't really have to play catch up and adapt to a new curriculum. So that's really definitely one strong point. The digital education technology integration is definitely something that we have been, pushing. There's been a significant move towards digital education, especially, of course, after COVID-19. But now there's an increase of resources that are online, courses that students can connect with, they can opt for. So a lot of learning management systems, LMS, that has come out into the market now for us to upgrade themselves as a promotion from the schools, or also individually. There are many sites now that they can upgrade their skills. STEM education is definitely on the rise to improve schools. Indian education places a very strong emphasis on STEM subjects, and we produce not just in school, but we produce a lot of graduates with strong analytical and problem-solving skills. So STEM plays a very prime role in our curriculum design and helps prepare students for the careers in related fields. Inclusive education, like I was talking about inclusivity in the classroom, there is a growing focus on inclusive education, ensuring that students from diverse backgrounds and with special needs have that access to education and the right education that they need in order to grow and develop. We have many first generation learners and tribal students in both our schools, like I shared. They lack academic support at home, right? So because they're first generation learners, their parents have not gone to school, their parents may be uneducated. So they lack that academic support at home, making it very difficult to navigate their education needs or navigate the education, the curriculum and the assessments that they have to go through. They have financial constraints also. It limits their access to books, to technology, extracurricular activity, basic holistic development and holistic education. So the school plays a very important role because we become the stand-in for the parent. We are the parent substitute because we provide not just the educational support, but we provide the emotional support, the guidance that students, the hand-holding they need, provide them the resources and educational framework. Inclusive education policies are designed and they're on the rise and they're constantly evolving as per the need. We are definitely have the right move towards developing skills and improving the education systems. But in some ways also there are challenges. We are misaligned in some ways because there's a big gap in the quality of education that students are receiving. There's a big gap between urban and rural areas because of the lack of trained teachers in rural areas. So that gap contributes to the gap in the quality of education that students are receiving in urban versus rural area. And as India is a country of many languages, we have a very vast linguistic diversity that presents a lot of challenges because educational materials may be only in English or in the national language. So students who are from regional language schools, for them to access quality education in their own mother tongue or written in their own mother tongue language. Socioeconomic disparities are also there because of a different socioeconomic differences that are there. They lead to different levels of access, study materials, extracurricular activities. For example, we have a lot of digital resources that we give students as a preparatory material for the next class. So there are some students who are some of our schools are in the interiors of India and where network may not be as strong. But students to access these digital resources is a challenge. Sometimes it's the availability of a device. There's only one phone we're in an urban setting, we're used to 3-4 phones or tabs or laptops in one family. But some of these students have access to only one phone and poor data plans, poor network connectivity. So these socioeconomic disparities they interfere with the goal of providing excellent education, equal opportunities, to students of diverse backgrounds. Overall, while there are strides being made towards alignment with global education standards, there are a lot of challenges still due to the socioeconomic, cultural, and diversity that we have. But on the good side, we have a national education policy now of 2020, which aims to address these misalignments because it wants to push the education system towards greater uniformity and inclusivity and make it more on the level of global standards. So we're making strides, definitely.
Thank you for explaining all of that. It definitely sounds like it's interesting. It's not like totally in the field of education in India is not completely aligned, but it's not completely disaligned. So there are positive things. And I'll say instead of disadvantages, I'll say things to work on or things that are being improved, like with the plan from 2020, or like to make everything in the education in the field in India more uniform, which is exciting to hear since that could help a lot of students in maybe short term or even more so in the long term. And I wanted to ask you, how are you working to expand upon the Good Project lesson plans with students? So we're going from thinking about the field in education more largely, but back to now the Good Project lesson plans with you in your own school. Yeah, I would love to hear more about what you're doing with those now or in the future to go beyond the lesson plans.
So, of course, the 2-year experience was very enriching because it gave us insights into not just how the Good Project can be taken forward into our classroom. We continue with the Good Project, but we enhance on the learning goals with students and in the Good Project. For example, students who have gone through the 2-year study, we are working on an enrichment program for these because they've gone through the entire set of units of Good Project lesson plans. We wanted something new for them. So we've designed an enrichment which applies the concepts, the good work concepts in real life situations, such as how can the framework of 3 be applied to evaluate work in any profession. So for instance, ask students to think about their field profession and we ask them to think about what are the responsibilities in that profession, think about what are the skills you will need in that profession, and combine the responsibility and the skills combine both of them and then evaluate what does good work look like in that particular profession or career that you have chosen, right? So this is applying the framework of good work, 3E, in a real life situation. For example, ethics, we're always in a dilemma and between ethics and morals that we have, the ethical system that we are supposed to follow, and the morals that we have, the code of conduct that we develop for ourselves. So sometimes there's also a third concept called the greater good. So sometimes serving the greater good can be considered as good work also, because we may be compromising on our ethical and moral values, but in the larger picture, we are serving the greater cause more for the benefit of others that we are thinking. So that is good work. So these real life application situations that we give students help them understand the world outside, the world that they're likely to encounter when they come out of even in college. I think it's more about getting to understand how to deal or how to tackle difficult situations, dilemmas in their lives, whether when they're from in school life, it's college life, it's the professional life, using the concepts from the Good Work Project. It's not just knowledge that I can apply to myself as a student, but they know now that they can apply it at any time, at any point of time in their life, irrespective of whether they're a student, a college student, or pursuing future studies, or a professional. I think that's our goal right now, to move it into the classroom with an enrichment program for the students. But we've also developed a PD program for professionals based on the Good Work framework. And we've also rolled out one of the phases of that PD program in our own office, on the central team for working professionals. And I think the next phase is like work in progress. It's in planning, where we are focusing on how can we get this out to the teachers. We have, like I said, over 8,000 or so. How can we get this out to our teachers? And yeah, we're exploring different how to make that the most optimal way of reaching out to teachers with a program design based on Good Work framework.
Thank you for explaining all of that. And yeah, I think it even goes back again to the thing we keep saying about equipping students for the 21st century and the skills they need as workers. And I think a lot of times, and I think about even just myself or my friends and I, like growing up, or other people, you say, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you say, you only know a certain amount of careers, but especially with the 21st century AI, there's jobs that could be created that we don't even know about yet, or that are just coming about now, or there are existing jobs that will grow. We'll need more people in those fields because of the changing job landscape and the needs of society, and to think about how we can get students started in school thinking about what skills they would need for their future career, or what kind of problems they'd like to solve in the world, is a great idea. And I'm excited to maybe learn more about it in the future too, once the plans are in the works. And before I let you go, Meenakshi, I wanted to ask you one final fun question. What piece of media have you turned to recently or in the past for inspiration? And this piece of media could be a podcast or a book, movie, TV show, really anything.
So, of course, it's really difficult to find the time to do that when you're working professional. But yeah, I try to, thanks to ebooks and documentaries, I try to stay updated. My favorite, and the one that I'm currently reading and looking at, is a documentary right now. It's like actually three things are running parallel. It's a documentary as well as ebook that I'm reading. The documentary is most likely to succeed. It's a good watch. A lot of examples of how good work can be achieved in education. I'm not sure if you've seen that documentary, but it examines the shortcomings of conventional education methods. And of course, all the examples are from the United States, but it gives a lot of insights into how innovative approaches can be used to better prepare us to. So it's a very interesting watch. Definitely is something to go by. And it's not, although I've watched it twice, I keep going back to that because I'm reading a book called What Schools Could Be by Ted. That's also aligned to this documentary. Giving you a little background, the book came out first, and then we had the documentary came out to try and highlight what was written in the book with interview teachers in the United States. I'm using both these, watching the documentary, going back to the book that I'm reading, because the book is also gives a lot of insights and inspiration. Teachers have shared what their vision of what a school could be. And that's very interesting because it's from the people in the front line, right in the classroom, who are giving their insights on how classrooms can be better. No matter how you have all the education and the school leaders and their visions. People in the front line are sharing, and that is definitely insightful. What a classroom would be like and what education could be like. It's very interesting. These are the things that are right now on my plate.
I know it's so hard to find time outside of work to do anything. It's so tiring. Maybe people have different energy levels, but the fact that you're going and thinking about watching the documentary, but also reading the book to supplement the knowledge you already have is amazing. And it's been wonderful talking to you, Meenakshi. It's been amazing to hear your insights about how to achieve excellence as a teacher yourself, but also thinking about the field of education in general, and specifically in India, and what you're doing with the Good Project lesson plans at the Podar schools is so exciting. I can't wait to see what is to come in the future. So thank you so much for being on the podcast. And for everyone listening, if you want to find out more about the Good Project or lesson plans, you can visit www.thegoodproject.org. And thank you so much, Meenakshi.
Thank you so much, Alison. It was great talking to you, great being on the podcast. Thanks for the opportunity. And yeah, looking forward to when it comes out. Thank you so much.